Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Lecture Notes. So today I'll be explaining a poem, The Sunshine Cat, which is written by Kamla Das. So Kamla Das used to write confessional poems, that is, telling about her personal life, and this poem is one of them. And this poem is the part of Summer in Calcutta, a poem collection which is written by Kamla Das. So moving on towards the line, they did this to her, the men who knew her, the men she loved, who loved her not enough, being selfish and coward, the husband who neither loved nor used her, but was a ruthless watcher. So, in the first line itself, she makes it clear that they did this to her, maybe a third person or maybe not. She might be talking about herself also. So, in the first two lines, she clearly mentioned that she's heard from the people or the person she already know and whom she already love. So, readers are introduced to the grief and agony of the narrator. She displays distrust towards the people whom she knew and loved because she was not reciprocated with the same love. She was looking for love, and return what she received was lust, and that too without any emotions. So clearly, she tells that her husband was a coward and a selfish who only looked after his own needs and was ruthless towards uh, the wife. So her husband, who was indifferent to her feelings, she admit he didn't abuse her, but he was totally ignorant towards her emotional support. So clearly, from husband's side, it was lust, and what the woman, the wife, was demanding was love. And then in the last line, she mentions him as a ruthless watcher. She says that he was merely a watcher, signifying that how he did not give her any emotional support. Rather, he was possessive and observed what she used to do. So she clearly shows that how a forced, loveless marriage where suffering had no end in the life of the woman. So in this paragraph, she makes it clear that the men did not provide or reciprocated the same love she was longing for. All they give or see her as a lustful object. And what they did was, because their ego was so much high, they became a ruthless watcher who was possessive, that what she was doing and what she was up to. Moving towards the next lines. And the band of cynics she turned to, clinging to their chest, where new hair sprouted like great winged moths, burrowing her face to their smells and their young lust to forget, oh, to forget. And they said, each of them, I do not love, I cannot love. It is not in my nature to love, but I can be kind to you. So, band of cynics in the first line of this paragraph refers to the lovers. She talks about all the lovers she had and expresses her feelings of complete disillusionment with all her sexual partners. So she says that she had an extramarital affair. She had many lovers, and they were young. New hair sprouted. That they had many. She had many lovers. They were young also. They were old also. But all the men had one thing in common, that they were only ready for lust, and they were not ready to love her as she was. So from this paragraph, she makes it clear that she tried to gain love from many people, but she did not receive it. And to achieve love, she was ready to do anything. So her yearning for love leads her to entrench in several illicit relationships that didn't help but exaggerate her loneliness and distrust. So her after experiencing so many lovers, she did not receive love, and as a result, she felt lonely and had a distrust in general men. So sprouted like great winged moths or face into smells. These images clearly shows that she did everything to gain love, but every man she met was same, who could only give her sympathy but not love. So they clearly mention that we can be kind to you, but we cannot love you. I cannot love. I cannot love. This is not in my nature to love. So nature here symbolizes that how men have been stereotyped that they can only be kind or sympathize towards women. They cannot treat women equal. Therefore, they cannot give love to women also. They led her slide from pegs of sanity into a bed made soft with tears, and she lay there weeping, for sleep had lost its use. I shall build walls with tears, she said, walls to shut me in. Her husband shut her in every morning, locked her in a room of books. So, after she's dejected, she has not received the love, she clearly mentions that it was men's fault, and as a result she lost her mind, she lost her sane mind. And because of the love she did not receive from many years from many people, she moved towards insanity. She was so much tormented that mental peace was long lost gone, and as a result she was suffering from insomnia, that she could not sleep for many days and nights because her mental condition was not at right place because of the men. And then she tells that she wept so profusely that she could have built wall with the tears, walls to hold her like a prisoner. And in the last line, in the third and fourth line of this paragraph, she mentions that how she wants to now make a protective layer so that no men could affect her, like all the men did when she did not receive love. But on the contrary, her husband made her live in a room full of books and locked her. So this shows that to protect herself, she wanted to create walls. On the other hand, her husband made her a real prisoner by shutting her in the library, which clearly shows how he wanted to establish a control over her. Earlier in the first paragraph, he was merely a watcher. And right now, he's establishing his complete authority by putting and locking her in a room. Clearly, he shows how physically as well as mentally she was tormented. In the first two paragraphs, she was only mentally tormented, but right now, in the last two paragraphs, she's physically also tormented because she has become a prisoner of her husband. With a streak of sunshine lying near the door like a yellow cat to keep her company. But soon winter came, and one day, while looking her in, he noticed that the cat of sunshine was only a line, a half thin line, and in the evening, when he returned to take her out, she was cold and half dead woman, now of no use at all of men. So, streak of sunshine in the first line refers to is personified and referred to a cat who was the only companion at the time of her loneliness. While she was locked in the room, her only companion was a cat, a bright yellow cat who was lying beside the room. But soon the winter came. Winter here symbolizes that for many days or months she was in the same situation. She was locked in the same room for many months. And then her husband noticed that the sunshine was lost, that how she has lost her beauty, how her mental status and physical status has affected her so much that she has lost her beauty and youth. So the sun rays was now reduced only to a thin line, as thin as her hair, and the poetess herself had now become so emancipated and thin because of her chronic depression and despondency that she felt herself to be half dead, and therefore no longer an object of sexual desire on the part of any man. So she was living in a confined space for so many months or days that she had lost everything that made her a beautiful young woman, and as a result she was no more an sexual object for the men. So clearly from last two paragraphs, Kamla Das shows that life of isolation and humiliation always ends in premature destruction and death. The poet feels suffocated in the life of confinement. It compelled her to snap all her ties with the external world. So clearly, in the first two paragraphs, she was mentally tormented. In the last two paragraphs, she was physically tormented because the male wanted to show his dominancy or control over the woman. So thank you for watching this video, and do like and subscribe.